Hi. I'm really nervous, but I know that God's going to give me the confidence here. So I wrote this all on my cell phone, so I'm going to talk from my phone but first, yeah, a lot of people here since I've been here today have asked me who am I and where did I come from and how come you see my face a little bit or maybe you've never seen me at all. So I have been going to Gateway it's my 1-year anniversary since I walked into Bible study. And I'm from Tennessee. I've lived here for 3 years, and I don't really have, I'm glad these are here, a family or a community here, and Gateway's really been a good community for me. It makes me feel at home. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about my overcoming fear, and that was this whole last year since I became a Christian has been a lot of me overcoming a lot of things that I believed about my past, and a big part of that was with my sobriety. So I'm from Tennessee, and I'm from a family of good people, but people who are really broken and in pain. And I've seen everyone in my life struggle, and it never stops. Meeting God, I'm pretty new to meeting God, and I'm new to California. My whole adult life, I've drank alcohol, and hold on, I lost my spot. I'm going to figure this out. I'm getting teary-eyed because sometimes this is really intense to think about how everything has just totally changed. Thanks. Okay. My whole adult life, I've drank alcohol until this last year. My identity really was drinking and partying. I drank when I wanted to celebrate, and I drank when I wanted to mourn, and I drank for courage, and I drank when I was bored. Everyone in my life, where I grew up, partied and drank, and that was just how life was. That was normal, and I couldn't imagine my life without it. When I began my walk with Christ, my drinking really became to a head. I had had troubles before with getting in trouble, drinking and driving. And when I met God, I'm a nurse, and I got in trouble with my nursing license all of a sudden. It happened at the same time. So I took drastic measures to be sober. I needed to prove my sobriety and that I wanted to learn from my mistakes. Even with all the trouble I've been in, I never thought I had a problem. I really couldn't understand how to be sober, and that idea seemed really foreign to me. At first, I thought I was being attacked by Satan. How, when I had actually met God and my walk was very new at that time, was I now facing these threats to my career? But in hindsight, I can see that God was revealing my truth and that I did have a problem with drinking, and it was time that I stopped letting a substance control my life. I begged God to dig me out of the hole. I didn't know how to change, so I asked that He would protect me by changing my circumstance. It seemed impossible for me to do it, so just change everything else instead of me, because I can't do that. But I learned that God will put us in situations or struggles, and He will either change the situation or He will change me. He's completely transformed me in this 1 year. Thanks, guys. I was absolutely terrified of facing life without my numbing agent to help me. I would sit in my floor and I would cry, thinking about how weak I was. Why me, and why did I have to face sobriety when the rest of the world was revolving around something that I felt was being taken away from only me? My world was actually crumbling around me, my relationships, my career, and every view that I had ever had. My fears were simple. How could I hang out? How could I be around my family? My friends wouldn't like me anymore. How could I have courage? And how could I even go through a weekend without drinking? And that's when I began to see the actual hold drinking had on my life. I don't know what that says, so I'm just going to skip that part. Okay, I decided that I had to let it go, so I leaned into God. I dug into the Word for support, and I Google searched scriptures for scriptures on when you're afraid, scriptures on when you don't know who you are anymore, scriptures on when you don't know what's going to happen. I listened to sermons on YouTube every day, and I stuck with church even when my own anxiety told me that I wasn't good enough to be in this place. But from my alone time with God, something amazing happened. A feeling that I'd never felt before. It was peace. I can't explain this peace in words. I'd never felt fulfilled like this. It's like being satisfied for the first time. It was like having hope when that never even existed. And it was like being so thirsty and finally getting water. I felt love for the first time. An unexplainable love. Another thing that continued to come up in my alone time is the importance of community and church, and I needed support and reminders that this is where I'm supposed to be. My mind can really play tricks on me, especially when I was struggling. My mind liked to convince me that I wasn't worth this journey that I'm on, and every time I would get back with a group or with another Christian or my church, the truth would just spill out and everything would align and make sense again. My soul is refilled again, and I continue the journey a little long, and I could continue the journey a little longer, even when I didn't know the outcome and what the next turn would hold. Every hard thing that you're going through is worth it. We're all here to lean on each other and encourage each other through the celebrations or the mourning. Church isn't a place to be judged, but it's a place to come when you're broken. I have to remember that God can use me the most because I am broken, and it's easier to be put back together and to fill up my holes. So each one of us has an individual story of struggle that when the timing's right, we can share it with each other and remind each other to not be ashamed, but there's hope in this place. This has all happened to me over the last year, and it's been a whirlwind. Everything that I ever knew has been rewritten, and things that I used to value, they mean nothing anymore. I found that under the pressure, I can build strength. And God put me through all of this to learn a lesson that I could never learn on my own, and I was never ready to learn. I can see a future and almost a roadmap of how to get there, which, whether or not I want to hear it, it's obedience to God. When God puts me in a situation or against struggles, I can deny it and I can run from it and continue to face the same situation time and time again, or I can deal with it. And I know that impossible things are possible with God on my side, and He does help me to not fear the unknown or the future anymore. If God's with me, I can face hard times, and the hard times come with a lesson. It's not just the pointless struggle cycle that I've always been familiar with. Before I knew God, life seemed pointless. I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in myself or love, and I had no values because I was hurt, and I seen everyone that I loved was hurt also. Okay, I lost my spot. Okay. God has started pulling back my layers and showing me that there's light in this world. And I'm very new to this journey, but it's amazing how many people in my life that I thought would judge me on my walk with God and my new sobriety actually allow me to talk about where I am, and they're encouraged by my story. Rather than judging me and not being my friend anymore, like, they're encouraged that I'm going through this. And I really see that I'm doing this for such a bigger reason than just myself. Like, this journey with God is for my whole family. And I think that things are changing slowly, and I have to stay on this path for everyone else that I love. And so lean in and let God show you what He has in store for you.